but just a reminder that you can only take photos for the first 5 minutes of this panel.
Hello, guys. It's a packed house. Welcome to Oz Comic-Con 2018. Yes. Are you guys having a good time? Like I said, this front row is very rowdy up here, but I need to hear from all y'all. Are you guys having a good time? Anybody here a fan of the originals? Please welcome to the stage, Phoebe, Tonkin, and Nathaniel, Buzolic.
What's up?
You guys can cheer louder than that for them. Come on, Phoebe and Nathaniel. Hi. Guys, welcome back home. What does it feel like to be doing Comic-Cons back where you guys grew up and started?
It's nice. I never thought I would actually do a Comic-Con in Australia, so it's really nice to come back home and hopefully most people in this audience will understand our sense of humor and our accents, you know? So, yeah, it's a little bit easier than the Brazilian conventions,
yes.
You know? Or the German conventions. They never get our sense of humor.
Yeah.
No, but your sense of style probably translates well there. You do have that European look. Is this your first Australian convention?
Second.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's my first.
And Phoebe, this is your first?
My first, yeah.
And how's it feel to be back home?
Yeah, it's so nice. I think the same. It's nice to do these Q&As and not have a delay where someone has to translate for 5 minutes. And the laughs come like 20 minutes later, or they just don't come at all.
Yeah, they generally don't come for me, so yeah. A couple of people in the front row. That's what we got them. Everyone else is asleep.
It's a very rowdy front row. Well, Phoebe, you just actually came back and filmed your latest project, Safe Harbor here. Is that right?
Sorry. I did that actually. Oh, sorry. I came back to Brisbane last year, around April last year, and did Safe Harbor, so I got to know Brisbane really well, and I love it. But I'd spent a lot of time in the Gold Coast because we shot H2O here many years ago, but I didn't know Brisbane very well, so it was cool to get to know, you know, another part of this place, yeah.
That's awesome. And let's go back to when you guys were originally cast on Vampire Diaries. What did you know about Cole? What did you know about the journey that he was going to go on? And what was your first impression when you read the script?
Yeah, well, I didn't audition for Cole. I tested in the very beginning for Stefan, and obviously didn't get that. And then there was a couple of other auditions for the show. So I was actually auditioning for a show called The Secret Circle, which you worked on. Yeah. And I got really close to a role on that. And what ended up happening is, because it was within the same family of Warner Brothers, someone watched my tape and they were looking for people to play, you know, in this original family, and they needed someone that kind of looked like Daniel Gillies and had some sort of resemblance to Joseph and the family. And I guess my tape was revisited, and they sort of just offered me the job. So I remember going in for Cole, and I had no idea about the character, the show at that point, because I wasn't watching it, and I thought I had to be American. So my first day on set, I played American until the director was like, "Oh no, you're English." And I was like, but I'm Australian. And they're like, yeah, it's the same accent. And you're like,
no.
So I stressed out, and I ran to Joseph, and I was like, you have to teach me an English accent, and you're Welsh, so let's just do this in 3 minutes. And that's how it sort of started. It was really weird.
That is weird. And which is harder for you, the American or the English accent?
I think English is harder just because it's probably closer to Australian. Like, you know, when you speak with an American accent, everything goes to the back of your throat, you know, your tongue drops, you say better instead of better. So I feel like it's an easier transition, whereas when you speak with an English accent, obviously everything goes to the front of your mouth, and sometimes it can sound a little bit similar to Australian. So it's finding that space, I guess.
Uh-huh. It sounds very good. And they apparently agree. Phoebe, how was your audition process like for the Vampire Diaries?
I was sort of in the same boat, but I booked the job. No.
Yeah, you got it. Every time.
I auditioned, obviously I was on Secret Circle, and then when that got cancelled,
Oh, I heard it had nothing to do with you, though.
and then, and then Kevin Williamson, who he and I got along very well when we did the Secret Circle, and he, spoke very highly of me, I think, to Julie Plec, I think, or at least I hope, and then Julie offered me the role of Haley, but I didn't know even the character's name when I signed on. I signed a piece of paper not knowing what I was doing, what I was playing, who I was playing, where it was going. All I knew was that I was going to do a few episodes of The Vampire Diaries, and then in January I would be part of a pilot for a spin-off.
Had you known that you were going to make love to
Daniel
Klaus,
Gillies.
yeah, and Daniel,
And Klaus.
would you have turned the job down?
Yes.
Okay, good to know. Good to know.
That's amazing that they just really gave you, a blank slate in a way.
Yes, I didn't think that for 5 years I would be a mother, or that 2 of those years I'd be wearing a fat pregnant belly on my stomach. But yeah, I didn't know anything about the character. But I was in good hands, and I trusted them, and so I knew I was going to be challenged and given a character that meant something, and yeah.
And how was it when there was the 5-year time jump between the 2 seasons, and you actually got to interact with your daughter on a different level than just a baby? You know what I mean? How did that change the dynamics of the relationship and your interpretation, I guess, of the character?
I mean, it definitely was more challenging once Hope got older, because even just the logistics of when she was a baby, you could sort of put her in the corner, and all this sort of horrible stuff could happen without her, being conscious and aware of it. But when she was older, we sort of had to find ways to go, Hope is at school, or Hope is not privy to this, or but it was also it was nice to be able to actually engage with my daughter and have a relationship with her.
Yeah. And Cole seemed a lot angrier in Vampire Diaries than maybe the originals.
He did.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of mellowed out a little bit.
Yeah.
Was it the love? What happened?
Yeah, look, I think once you feel a little bit of love, you kind of see the world a little bit differently. I actually preferred playing angry Cole. It was more enjoyable. I was kicking more doors. I was hitting more people, I remember one funny time I was working with Ian, and I had to choke him. I had to have him in a headlock in a freezer. And he said the strangest thing to me. He said, "Try not to touch me, I'll sell it."
But I'm supposed to be choking you.
Yeah, but I had him in a headlock. Have you ever tried to put someone in a headlock without touching him? It's like you're playing that game of doctor trying to put the
Hospital.
Hospital. You're like, okay, I'm sorry, I touched you. It was weird. I was like, okay, you sell it. I won't touch. Anyway.
And how did you initially get into the mind frame of playing one of the world's oldest vampires? How did you approach the role? I mean, it's a unique situation.
Oh, absolutely. I would just walk down dark streets in Los Angeles thinking I could destroy anybody, I went very method until I realized, wait a second, I'm in Compton. This is not safe. Leave and leave now.
That's amazing. Okay, guys, we're going to open it up for questions. If you have a question, raise your hand. And while they're getting themselves organized, what do you guys, this audience is filled with people who love Vampire Diaries and the originals. What do you guys geek out about? What do you love? What do you watch or read?
I love the Bible. I know that's not the coolest thing in Australia to say, or the world, but I actually really enjoy it. I read it every day.
What's your favorite chapter?
Genesis is epic if you study it. I spent 150 hours studying it this year. And I don't know, you just learn so much. There's so much history in it, and there's so much explanation about the human spirit and I guess the big questions we kind of really struggle with, who are we, what's our purpose, what's our value, where do we come from and where we're going. And I think at some point, whether it's today, 10 years, or the last day of your life, you're going to ask yourself those questions. And if you don't find the answers, it's sometimes I guess that's where fear, anxiety, and all that sort of stuff comes up. So for me, it's I'm really passionate about that.
Do you think there's a show on television or being produced right now that kind of reflects those values and that messaging?
Oh, absolutely. I think any story that you see in movies, in television, they will always bring up those themes, because those themes are the things that we talk about all the time. I remember watching Wonder Woman, and seeing like really biblical themes about the brokenness of humanity and this, this evil character who's constantly just trying to prove that humans will inevitably choose the wrong thing or do evil, And I think that's like a constant thing then when we look at our world. Like, we're so fortunate to be here in Australia in this moment where we can sit and share stories and be in this place, but then like you jump across the world and go into the Middle East, and right now people are fighting for their lives, So it's kind of like this really, I don't know, I'm very interested in humanity, I'm very interested in spirituality, so I guess that's the kind of thing. So any show that sort of touches on those themes and makes people stop and think like, who am I? What do I want to be? Where am I going? And where did I come from? I think they're really good questions for anyone to ask. And I hope as actors and as, people who create stories that we at least tap into that, because I think that's what people really want at the end of the day.
And Phoebe, what about you? What are you watching or reading or listening to?
Maybe there's shades of the Bible in this, but The Handmaid's Tale, I love. What else have I watched lately? There's a show called Atlanta. I think maybe it's on Stan here. I really love that show. Yeah, I haven't watched a lot of TV recently because I didn't have one.
Nice. Yeah.
And I hate watching things on my laptop. But yeah, Handmaid's Tale was definitely the one that I felt like, I don't know, I just thought it was really beautifully shot, beautifully written, beautifully acted, and it was very inspiring. Yeah, and I think obviously the themes in it are probably a little too relevant to some of the things that are happening in the world today, but I just really liked it, and I think Elizabeth Moss is an incredible actress. Yeah, that's probably my favorite show right now.
Yeah, that's awesome. Hi. We'll start right here. Hi.
Is the 5 minutes up with photo taking?
I think so.
Who monitors that? They're like, 5 minutes is up. If anyone even like...
You're monitoring it.
I'm not monitoring. I don't care. Look, this one's like blatantly going. I'm joking. Look, there was a rule. It was 5 minutes. Time is up. Okay. Do they?
Hi.
Oh my gosh, love it.
My question's for Phoebe. I love you, by the way.
Thank you.
What was it like to work with Claire again after so long between the originals of Vampire Diaries and H2O?
Yeah, it was amazing. Claire's from Brisbane. I don't know if you guys know that. It was really nice.
Big fans of Brisbane here. We're so used to America. Like if we say, Detroit, yeah, Detroit.
It's true.
Whereas Australians, it's like, yeah, Brisbane, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, we're not used to this, guys. Be patient with us.
Self-deprecating Australians, that's me.
Yes, we're back. We're home.
Yeah. It was amazing. It was really nice to know someone. When you start a new show, there's a lot of new faces and new people that you have to get to know. And so it was nice to have someone there that had, she and I knew each other very well. And so it wasn't as scary when lunchtime came around and you had no one to sit with.
Thank you. Hi.
How was with the originals recently ending and your character dying? How was to deal with the whole crew since you guys have been working together for so long?
It was really sad. I mean, if you've seen the last season of the originals, I kind of died midway through the season and then was sort of brought back a few times after. So it was hard to sort of I kind of felt like I kept saying goodbye to people. But the last day and the last shot that I ever shot on the originals, I didn't think I was going to be as emotional because I'd obviously had time. We had only started in June. We'd only been doing 13 episodes in the final season. And so we'd had 6 months away, whereas normally we'd be shooting 10 months out of the year. And it felt very much like that was my life. But as soon as they called cut for that last time, and I don't know if it's come out yet, but I think that Julie had the camera keep rolling for everyone's last shot, and I just lost it. I fell to the ground, I cried, and it was also equally as sad because I was the last shot of the night. It was 1 o'clock in the morning, and the main crew, who's the crew that I've been working with, for 5 years, they were on another set. So as soon as I called cut, I ran around screaming like, Ian, Matt, is anyone still here so I can say goodbye? And a lot of them had gone home. So I didn't get to say goodbye properly to a lot of people, which was really sad. But I got to say, goodbye to, at least some people that were still there for my scene. But yeah, I was very emotional.
Were you happy with your last scene? Were you happy with the way that it sort of ended, the culmination?
Yeah, I think it was important that the last moment we saw Hayley was that, from the get-go when we met Hayley, her priority was always family. She finally found her own family, even though it wasn't the parents that she'd been searching for, but she created this family with the originals and with her daughter Hope. And so I really thought and maintained that her last scene should be about the protection and love for her daughter, as opposed to fighting battles of, evil. I thought... And I had to have those creative conversations with the writers that I really believe that her last scene ever should be with Hope.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Hi.
Hi. Okay. So basically,
It's like underwater. Like.
Okay, you know what? We'll come back to you. Let's go over here. Hi.
Do you guys actually ever watch any of the TV shows or movies you've starred in?
That's a good question.
Yes.
I have not watched the originals since season 2.
Babe.
It's hard to watch yourself.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to.
Do you
it's like
get
listening to your own
self-conscious?
voicemails. Like, it's weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like to watch myself. I think once it's done, there's nothing you can do about it either. So if you watch the scene and you don't feel like you did what you wanted to do, then you just get disappointed. So it's better just to leave it and know that that's what it is now.
Yeah. Thank you. All right. Did we work it out? Okay. We will stick over here. Do we have another question? Hi.
Yeah, my question's for the both of you. If you guys had a favorite movie you want to watch or work with, which one would it be?
A favorite movie to watch or work with? Okay, let's just do favorite movies. Couple, doesn't have to be your number one favorite movie, but a couple great movies that you guys enjoy.
I love Mrs. Doubtfire. I love... what other movies have I watched recently? Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Such a good movie.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
What else? I love Marie Antoinette. I love anything that's just beautifully shot with some nice phoenix over the top of it. That's sort of my genre.
Yeah. Movies that if I see them on TV, I'll just keep watching till the end. Braveheart, Armageddon, gosh, what else? Pirates of the Caribbean, the first one. I guess...
What's wrong with the second one?
I like the last one. Last one was pretty good. I don't know. It's just, I guess, yeah. What else? I like World War II movies a lot. Saving Private Ryan, I really, really loved. I'd love to do another World War II movie if I had the chance.
You'd be great at that. Yeah.
Well, you did Hacksaw Ridge.
Yes.
Number 1.
I didn't get to be in the army though. I wanted to be in like those war scenes. So maybe another chance.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. All right. Where are we going? Hi. Go ahead. Okay. Over here.
Do you have any projects on the go at the moment? And do you know if you'll be in Legacies at all?
Okay. Can Cole maybe be in Legacies? We don't know
Look,
yet.
if he's going to be in Legacies, he's probably going to be like a janitor at the school.
You would make such a good janitor.
Oh, look, yeah, I can show you my stuff if you're interested.
Okay, let's see. This is the janitor. Mm-hmm.
Hey.
I still don't believe it.
You could be like the Alfred Hitchcock in, cameos. That's very good.
But don't look, it wasn't the first time I've done it. I've been practicing that for months, so, yeah. Very talented.
And you just finished filming something, right?
No, I'm in the middle of filming. That's why
Okay.
I have massive dark circles under my eyes. I'm shooting a show for Stan, which is Australian, right now in Melbourne. What? Oh, okay, yeah, great.
I was waiting for someone to like, oh yeah, we're
which
Australian.
is awesome. It's going to come out at the end of this year, I think, on Boxing Day, and it's really cool. I've been really fortunate. I get to work with some wicked actors. I play a young Jackie Weaver, and it's sort of a grounded, sort of sci-fi supernatural show, but we're in the middle of filming it right now. So yeah, that's why my voice is gone and why I look very tired.
You don't look tired at all. You look fantastic.
Yeah.
So, okay, great. Hi.
Okay, we're hoping it's working now. Okay, thank goodness. So you guys are clearly in your own projects right now, but did you have any future projects you were interested in?
I think as an actor, I mean, you're always interested in interesting stories and characters, right?
Love to work again. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
love to get a job. Yeah. It's an interesting time in Hollywood at the moment. So I don't know. The industry's changing a lot.
Because you're a boy?
Because I'm a male. Yeah. Yeah. A lot of the shows are now becoming really female driven, which I think is great. But it just means that there's less opportunity for. Look, honestly, you saw my janiting work. That's what's going to happen.
So.
Yeah, it's not strong. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's always, I think that, you know, like I was saying, as an actor, you're attracted to interesting stories, interesting characters. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah.
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 Okay. Thank you.
Or just well-paying characters.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, let's be honest.
That too.
I'll play a dad on ABC Family.
Hi guys, just a really big fan of both of you. But I was wondering, Phoebe, how was that transition from just a shy little werewolf with Hayley and then turning into a hybrid with, you know, a daughter as the most powerful witch in the world? I was just wondering, how was that transition as an actor?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. Thank you. You know, I think when the great thing about a long-running show is that you have the time to, you know, build a character and see the character go through a journey, and it doesn't feel so abrupt when a character suddenly changes overnight. You know, we really got to see why Hayley built her strength and where she was getting that strength from. And so for me, it was just a natural progression in the writing, and that it was very easy to kind of grow from where we met Hayley initially to where she ended up.
Thank you. Hi.
Hello. Ooh. Hello. Sorry. If for both of you, if you could work with any actress or actor in the future, who would it be?
Any actress or actor?
What are you gonna say?
I wasn't going to say anything. I was actually thinking about it. Who would I like to work with? I don't know, you want to take this first part of it?
There's a director I love called Reed Moreno. She does The Handmaid's Tale, actually, and amongst other really great films. And yeah, I would love to work with Sofia Coppola. I'd love to work with Wes Anderson. Yeah, it's more probably directors that I want to work with than specific actors. Yeah. Those would be like two of my bucket list. Or Terrence Malick.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I have any, to be honest. I don't mind, really. Like, you never know. Like, you could name, like, amazing actors in this industry, and you could work with them, and it could be a great experience, or it could be a horrible experience, or it could be just a very different thing to what you expect they'll be like. So, I don't know. I just think, I don't really think that, like, oh, it'd be great to work with this person. I'd just be like, I think that the most important thing is the story. So I just think if you have a good story, you can tell a good story.
Thank you. Do either of you guys want to ever direct, speaking of story and putting your artistic impression on more than just a performance?
Yeah, I think directing would be like, I think because we've been actors and we understand, you know, the process of putting something together, and I've got a huge passion for photography, and I've started to also shoot stuff just to sort of tell stories. I think I would like directing in the sense that it's amazing how you can see how moving images can really affect someone on the inside in a really unique way. And also just like, I think it's always been fun working on sets and seeing how a director will take a script and find a moment in a scene where he goes, I'm going to do something different here, and almost force an audience down a direction that they didn't think they were going to go. So I would love to maybe one day direct, but, you know, it's, who knows? It's like so competitive, so.
All right. Hi.
So this one's for Phoebe, but I was just wondering, when you filmed Tomorrow When the War Began, back in the day. What was it like doing that, and whatever happened to the second?
That's a good question.
Do you want to be in the
I
second?
auditioned for that as well.
Did I steal all
Didn't
the
get
roles
it.
you went for?
Didn't get it.
That was a really awesome experience, and I met, some of my closest friends on that job. And I was super young. I was 19 when I did it. And it was just a really incredible learning experience. I'd gone from kind of doing only television, going from school to television to this massive, big budget film. And yeah, I really learned a lot. And, Rachel Hurdwood, who played Corrie, is still one of my closest friends. And I caught up with her in London, and she has a baby now, which is wild, who's beautiful. But yeah, it was a really nice experience. And, in terms of the second movie, I think it just kind of got hard. I mean, obviously the timeline of it, we all had to stay the same age, and movies like that don't just kind of get made overnight. They take time to get funding, and it was a big budget movie, that one. And I think by the time they sort of maybe thought they could do it, we didn't look the same anymore, and technically in the second book it needed to be 12 hours later, and we were all a good few years older and had hit puberty. No, I hit puberty, but some of us hadn't. A little Ash. No, I just think, she was like 14 when she started. She was a baby. And now she's doing so well. But yeah, I just think it was a bit of a logistical thing and just a timing thing.
Thank you. Sometimes that happens. It's just there's not any particular reason a film doesn't get made at a certain time, or a character doesn't go the same way. It's just, there's a lot of extenuating circumstances.
Yeah.
Hi.
Oh, sorry. Hi, this question's for Phoebe. When you first got the part as Fiona, did you have to read the book first so you could understand what the character is going through, and also to put your own spin on it?
100%, yeah. I read the book as I was auditioning for it, and then kind of kept it as a handbook. And this is a few years ago, so I can't remember exactly, but I do feel like Stuart Beattie, who was the director, sort of told us not to rely too much on the book, because obviously a film is a different medium. But Ashley Cummings actually did something amazing that I would never have the patience to do. She rewrote the book from her character's perspective, which is so amazing. And again, she was like a child when she did this. She's a really incredible actress. But yeah, we had it as a guide, but it didn't necessarily dictate entirely our performances.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi guys. Nathaniel, this one's for you. So Cole dies. He's resurrected into a new actor's body and brought back as a witch in the originals. How do you deal with that? Like watching as an actor and thinking to yourself, no, that's not Cole. You've just done something that is not Cole-like at all.
Just surprised how good looking he got. I was like, oh, they did that. Ow. And he was taller. It was funny. I didn't watch much of Daniel Sharman's stuff. But I do remember a funny moment when I came back to the show, and I'd just come back.
No one remembered you.
No one remembered me. I was reintroducing myself. It was fine. I reprinted all my headshots and obviously handed them out to everyone just so they could be familiar. But I was about to do a scene, and this a new wardrobe girl had come up who I hadn't worked with before because she came on after, and she said, "Oh, you have to put your collar up." And I was like, "Why?" And she's like, "Because Daniel Sharman put his collar up." And I was like, "But I was before Daniel Sharman, so he should have put his collar down." So it's just like, yeah, so it was a bit of that, I think a little bit of a pride. But it was good. I think he did a great job. I don't know what accent he did, though. He did like a really interesting accent for it, didn't he?
I think he did his own accent.
No, I think he did like a northern accent or something.
Like a hybrid.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, I should have done a different accent for Cole. But I didn't have time, remember? I had 1 minute to do an accent. But I think if I had my time again, I probably would have done like straight off the streets of London. My name is Cole Michelson.
But
Can
why?
I shine your shoes for you, governor?
You
I don't know.
all
I
grew
just
up
thought-
together, then you'd all have different...
It would have just been so interesting. Niklaus, what's going on? Like, what's the problem?
In
Where's
it.
Hope? In it.
In it.
Look at her. Oh, she's... Hello, Poppet.
Odd.
Hello, Poppet. I just would have, I don't know, it would have been different.
Now you have to go over to Legacies.
Yeah, hello.
You gotta
Hello,
try that
guys.
out.
Get into school, don't miss school, stay in school. It's good for you, isn't it? Innit? Yeah. Don't do drugs, all right? Or you'll end up like Uncle Cole. Not that Cole didn't do drugs.
Hi.
Cut that out.
Hi, you mentioned beforehand about how you read Genesis from the Bible and Phoebe from A Handmaid's Tale. Deborah Harkness's book of Discovery of Witches has come into a TV series now. Would you be interested in going on that, either a witch or a vampire?
I would, because one of my best friends is playing Diana. She's the character? Yes. So I would, just so I get to hang out with Teresa every day. But I'm dying to see that. I just heard that it came out, and I've been kind of hinting that I want her to send me a link. Is it coming out in Australia? It probably will, but it looks amazing. But I haven't read it, but I would like to be on it for Teresa.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi, Phoebe. Excuse my accent, please. Is there any kind of role or character you would like to play one time?
I don't know if there's a specific character. I always like the challenge of like diving into something or a world that I don't know very much. I love history, and so I've always wanted to do something in the kind of period world. I just want to be on like BBC with a bonnet. I've always said that. I would always harp on Julie and be like, everyone in the show gets to put on a bonnet, and I don't dare to do any flashbacks. But I would love to do something that required me to really kind of understand and research a period in time, and the way a character talks and the world they live in and the social structure of that period. I find that aspect really exciting. Yeah.
Thank you. Hi. Oh, stay over there. Okay. Hello.
For Nathaniel, how was it to work on Supernatural?
Yeah, it was amazing. You know, when I first booked that job, I was so excited because, you know, the Supernatural world is just like, it's got its own culture. It's like super popular. You know, those guys have been doing the show for, I think, 13 years now. So I really thought that was going to be like a massive shift in my career. And I was, you know, I obviously signed on to that, and we were hoping that it would get picked up to series. But unfortunately, I just think the CW sort of read into like what a lot of people on Twitter were saying about the show, which is not necessarily the true opinion of the, you know, the people watching it, but they're just people that like to be really, really vocal and negative. So it was sad that it didn't go further, but it was great to work with Jensen and Jared. They're extremely tall, like Daniel Sharman. So yeah, I had like minor neck issues at the end of the shoot, just because you're always like looking up at them. But yeah, it was really fun, and disappointed that it didn't go further. People still ask, like, is like Bloodlines happening? I'm like, it was 3 years ago. I'm pretty certain that is no longer gonna ever happen. You know.
I know, but there's hope. There's hope there.
There's hope, yeah.
From the people.
I've given up on that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got legacy. I'll focus on legacy now.
Yeah, focus on that. Manifest that. Yeah. You believe in manifesting jobs a little bit.
I do.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah,
I
I
do.
noticed that for Safe Harbor, you sort of had like, you put it out there what you wanted, and the project sort of came to you.
Yeah, even the job that I'm doing now, I definitely think I manifested. It sort of only applies to my work life. It doesn't really apply to my personal life, unfortunately.
You manifest Ryan Gosling and he just starts walking down this aisle. Like, hey, what's Ryan Gosling doing here?
But
And he's
yeah.
single now.
I definitely manifested actually the last 3 jobs. It's very weird. I definitely felt like I manifested Safe Harbor, and then when I was coming off the originals, I said to my agents, I would love to do a show like The Affair. The Affair would be a show I would like to do, or something like that. And then I booked The Affair, and then I said that I wanted to do period. And then this job that I'm doing now, without giving anything away, it has, you know, touches of period. I at least got to put on a red lip and put my hair in curlers for a couple of days. No bonnet, though.
No bonnet yet. That's future goals.
Just wear it on set and see if you can just... if no one asks you to take it off, you know, it's on.
Yeah, there you go.
It becomes continuity.
Hi.
This one's for Nathaniel. I know you speak Croatian, and I'm part Serbian, and I speak Serbian. And do you like Zdravo? Moje ime je Tara.
Speak Croatian.
My mum's Croatian. Yeah, I samo malo. I don't speak a lot, just because I haven't really spent a lot of time over there. But I do speak a little bit, and I understand more than I speak. I don't even know where you are.
Yeah. Oh, there she is.
Oh, there you are.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Did you have a question or? No?
You're just more of a statement. I like that.
Yes.
Very Serbian of you.
Good job. Okay,
Follow.
hi. Over here.
Hi. My question's for Nathaniel. What was it like going from a show like the original to a big screen movie like Hacksaw Ridge?
You know what? The best thing about Hacksaw Ridge is, well, first of all, I auditioned for a different character on Hacksaw Ridge, and when they looked at myself and they looked at Andrew Garfield, they realised that I had no chance but to play his brother. So it was great. Honestly, working with Mel Gibson was like a dream come true because I've always really looked up to him as a storyteller. So it was just like a bit of a surreal moment for me. I had this interesting moment in Los Angeles a few years ago where I was at this shopping complex called The Grove, which is like an outdoor shopping complex, and this little boy had run up to me and he was like, can I get a photo? Can I get a photo? And I was like, yeah. And I thought, there's no way this kid watches the Vampire Diaries originals, because he was like, 7. And then his teenage sister ran around the corner and she's like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. We saw you from across the street and we just wanted to get a photo with you. Is that okay? And I was like, okay, obviously she's the fan of the show. That's fine. Everything's back to normal. The world is okay. And the little kid came up and took the photo. And then as he was leaving, he was like, thank you, Spider-Man. And I was like, he thinks I'm Andrew Garfield.
Oh, no.
And in a moment, again, like my accent, I had to make a decision. So I was like, do I break this kid's heart that he hasn't met his hero, Andrew Garfield, who plays Spider-Man, or do I tell him the truth? And as a Christian, I felt like truth is a very important thing. But I eventually just went, no worries. I just quickly walked away. Yeah, I hope he doesn't show anyone that photo. I was like,
That's
lies.
amazing. I think you did the right thing.
You think so?
Oh yeah. You know,
Right.
you don't want to crush his little spirit and dreams, or hers. So.
Yeah.
Yes. Hi.
What's a good or funny memory you've had while on set?
A good or funny memory from Vampire Diaries or the originals?
Yeah, Joseph Morgan one day scratched someone's car that was in the crew. Were you working that day?
That was Daniel's car.
No, he scratched this guy, and the guy was huge. He was like, I don't know, mammoth. He was like the biggest person I've ever seen. Like, big as the guy here for the convention who's the wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
That sort of size, big guy. So the whole day we were just joking with Joseph, telling like the guy that was on the crew that Joseph wants to fight you now because Joseph feels like he doesn't have to pay for the damage. It was more your fault for where you parked it. And it was just this whole ongoing thing that me and Daniel were like, he's really mad now. We've kind of said some stuff that kind of got him more angry. So I was just saying, it was a fun moment, just annoying Joseph this whole day because he felt horribly guilty that he scratched this mammoth of a man's car, and yeah. Obviously, you had to be there because it wasn't very funny. Let's talk about this time when this young little boy came up to me.
That was good.
That was solid. That was solid. That got
was a
some
good
laughs.
one.
Yeah.
Very good one.
Australia has spoken.
Okay. Hi.
Hi, this is for both of you. As actors and a photographer, Nathaniel, what's some stories that you want to tell?
There's a million, thousand, trillion answers to that. I've always gravitated towards, I love movies that show other countries, especially countries that I don't know much about. I would love to keep making, I would love to have the opportunity to make movies that really show a country as another character and a culture that maybe people aren't so familiar with. Maybe it's a silly reference, but I remember watching Beyond Borders when I was younger, or even like Tomb Raider, and I was super young and I didn't know much about Cambodia, and I remember watching Tomb Raider and immediately planned and dreamt that I would go to Cambodia one day just because I saw Angelina Jolie just like, hanging from the roof in the castle or something in Cambodia. Yeah, I love movies that just really get to explore other places that you don't necessarily. That's to me what movies are so great for. Like, it really does feel like you can delve into something that isn't your reality. And I think even in a grounded sense of delving into a film that's set in a country that you've never been to, that's escapism as much as fantasy is escapism.
I think for me, if anybody follows me on my social media, it's pretty...
Don't do it.
It's pretty clear that I'm fascinated with the story of who Jesus was. I think what I found really interesting, because I wasn't always a Christian, I didn't really ever believe in the story, but at 27 I sort of got confronted with this this idea and this book and this theme, and I've kind of been on a journey ever since. But I think so many people have misinterpreted and misunderstood who he actually was, what he actually said, what he actually did, and why he actually came. And I think it's been really fascinating to see when you have one-on-one conversations with people about what their understanding of, you know, Jesus is, and not from... I think Christians have really messed that up. And the church and like the interpretation of, you know, what's come across is not really what it is. And I spent on three different occasions I've gone to the Middle East, and I spent a lot of time in Israel and all the places he went. And when you start digging deeper into the story, you actually start finding there's so many layers that are so unbelievable that no human could ever write that story. And it's fascinating. If I had more time, I could spend 45 minutes talking about just certain things, but I obviously don't. And the other story that I think is really important is, you know, what else is like happening in this world. In 2016, I was fortunate enough to go to Iraq, and I took photos. I went to certain places that had just been liberated from ISIS, and, you know, I guess it was interesting because I went to Iraq in the middle of filming Originals. I didn't tell Warner Brothers where I was going, and I asked for 9 days off because I had a personal commitment. And I flew to Iraq, and it was a fascinating experience because on one hand we're actors and we have this awesome life where we're having fun and telling stories and we're looked after and we're getting paid really, really good money. And then I went to the absolute extreme, which was, you know, places where young children had been confronted with possibly the worst evil that the world has seen in this century. And, you know, it was kind of like very surreal for me to spend time with refugees and meet kids that had been captured by ISIS, tortured by ISIS, and then gone back to my reality, which was acting and trying to fit back into that world, you know. So I think that kind of really changed me a lot, and I realized that, like, the world probably doesn't need another actor, you know, for the world to be a better place. So I really would love to use as much as the influence that I get given from this show to actually start sort of telling those sort of stories, and at least so people are aware that, you know, yes, we have a beautiful world, but it is a very, very broken place.
That's very well said. Very well said. We have time for 2 more questions, so let's take them. Hi.
Hey guys, I have a interesting question for you. Not really interesting. On the set of Vampire Diaries and the originals, who was the biggest prankster?
Boy,
Joe and Daniel played a lot of pranks on each other, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. If you followed Joseph and Daniel while they were filming the show, they're actually really funny. Joseph Morgan is an extremely funny guy. And when he does these videos, I mean, he's just got this really dry sense of humor that I think works in Australia. Yeah. Doesn't work so much in America, but in Australia, like, I thought he was one of the funniest guys I ever met. So, yeah, I would say Joseph.
Thank you. And last question. Hi.
Hi, my name is Fernanda. I'm from Brazil, and we love you. And I just want to ask, what's your favorite scene to film?
Favorite scene?
Did you guys have a favorite scene from either series, Vampire Diaries or the originals?
I loved any of the scenes where we were all together. That was always the most fun, I think, on set. There were the episode where we all went to the masquerade ball, and a lot of us were all in that scene. That, like, it was Ollie, it was Daniel, Joe, Charles. It was the kind of whole gang, and that was really fun. You weren't there.
Yeah, I wasn't there. I was...
You're in Iraq.
Yeah, I was in Iraq, just hanging out, you know. Talking to, like, Navy SEALs and snipers and stuff. You wouldn't get it, you know. I think some of my favourite scenes to shoot with, probably with Danielle. You know, it was kind of fun working with her. You know, I think saying goodbye to her and having that big sort of storyline come to an end was, like, cool. So, you know. And for her, look, lucky her. Got to kiss 2 guys. One really good looking and one average guy like me.
That's not true.
I know.
You're very good looking.
I'm just trying to be self-deprecating.
He's
I'm back in
very
Australia.
good looking, right, guys?
He's all
All right, we are out of time for today.
That could have been better. That could have been louder.
Guys. Yes, did you guys enjoy this hour? One more big round of applause for Nathaniel and Phoebe.
Thank you, guys.